So I'm going to do a video real quick of a 1985 CJ7. Now, I just brought this thing back. It's a clean California title and runs, drives. I'm going to do a video of it for a multitude of reasons. One being the debate on, do I sell it whole? And it's, almost a barn find. It was an original owner. Or do we do what we've done for years? Now, CJs are getting to the point, as most of you know, and probably the ones that are looking for these parts have realized that it almost doesn't make sense to part them anymore. They're bringing really, really good money whole, especially semi done well. This one's in the process of that. Even not done, even just a barn find like this guy, is still brings, and that's really what it's going to come down to. So I always do videos for a couple reasons. One, if we do end up partnering it out, gives the buyer of the parts, specifically the frame, the tub, some of the bigger parts, an opportunity to see it as if they were here in person. And two, it also gives me the ability to price it correctly, is if I see anything. And obviously this is what I call a pre-dismantle video, which just means that it's not dismantled. Very simple. On some things, we'll do a little bit better pricing on pre-dismantle, in the sense that if somebody locks something down with a deposit, we usually do deposit up front, and we go in, puts it in our queue to get it dismantled. Knocks a little bit off. Doesn't knock a lot off on the CJs, but it does knock a little bit off. We're going to be out a few weeks on this likely anyway, unless somebody is really got a fire under their ass and needs it done ASAP, and in that way, the price might be reflected for that, but not always. And then the second reason is it will allow me to really see this Jeep up close and personal. So yes, I bought it, and I should know that, but I bought this thing sight unseen, guys. So for a lot of you out there, you may not do that or may not feel comfortable doing that on a Jeep. Yeah, it's nerve-wracking, especially with all the BS that's out there, but you got to filter people out. And there's certain things you can ask. I always demand a phone call. Usually the scammers out there are the ones that aren't wanting to do phone calls. They're wanting you to pay them something, usually in a way that's somewhat, not like a credit card. Not that credit cards have all the protection, but there's definitely protections built in. Venmo and Zelle don't have a lot of protection as far as, and wire transfers as well. There's almost none there. As far as, disputes later on if somebody does rip somebody off. So don't send money to people, especially private people. And I'm not saying everybody, but, do your due diligence on that. And I'm not here to talk about that. So that is what it is. Just, I constantly have people that call and are like, oh, I paid $600 for a hardtop, free shipping. And I'm like, well, that was probably too good to be true. Not that those deals they're not impossible to find, but they're very hard to find. But the free shipping was that was an easy red flag for me, because shipping on a hardtop, we just did one to Montana, and it was $500. It ain't gonna be free. So, in this case, it was $700 free shipping. It's like, yeah, right. So, okay. It's got a brand new interior. They're aftermarket seats with factory risers. These may go into something else of ours, but if we sell it whole, we'll keep it original. It's got a Tuffy box with the lockable console, which is nice. Looks like Tuffy or something similar. May not be a Tuffy brand, but it's close. Your radio sits down in here. Again, you didn't come here for that. This one's doesn't have a radio in it. And they have the radio hole filled in here. So my guess is, yeah, so it feels uncut back here, and the original holes for the old AM, FM, which is nice. So that should be an uncut dash, a really nice pad. Again, looks to be, it's hard to say, but looks to be original. The lettering with the silver on it. If it was Laredo, it's very possible, but everything looks to be original. Nice windshield frame. Carpet in it. Looks like it was always had a top on it. We'll see here in a second if that's true. Oh, even got a sound deadening in there. Somebody's put some one, it's glued down. So this one's going to be a little harder to do. Not that this stuff's hard to get off with a washer, but if we do I'm not going to peel this right now because it's, if we sell it whole, it's going to kill the, somebody might like that. It's got a nice carpet kit in it. It looks like brand new. So, all right. So that's going to be, again, so here's the deal. If we do decide to part this thing, which again, I'm 50-50 right now, then yes, we would pull the carpet. I would do it after we got a deposit. I'm not going to pull the carpet without doing that. Now, the deposit works like this with us. Pre-dismantle always is in the buyer's favor. So if I speculate from the bottom only and think that there's no rust and price it accordingly to that, and we get in there and there's, not talking oxidation, I'm talking rust, cancer, rot, holes, you know, thin spots. If there's some of that in there, then you can get out of it. You can just get your money back. Or if you say, hey, you know, I still want it, it's not that bad, but I definitely don't want to pay that, then we usually work it out on the price side. So just keep that in mind. Nothing really locks you in unless we pull it out and it's as good or better. And in that case, you're saving because, again, you're saving a little bit because we're doing pre-dismantle. So yeah, get this guy to full forward and see if we can get anything back here if this has all got all this on it. So yeah, so glued here too. So again, this stuff it's not hard to get up. Way better than a liner. It's just they glue it down, the sound deadening. You can kind of see the yellowing there of that. But it's easy enough to get through that stuff. So, but the floors look excellent. I mean, for the corners and roll bars, these are almost always fried. Matter of fact, I'll show you a spot to look, because unless this roll bar gets completely pulled, there might be a little bit there. A little bit of surface there, or maybe even a little, we'll see what the bottom looks like there. But this is a perfect example. Until you pull a roll bar, there's no way to really see fully that. Now, there is a couple tricks that we use to see if there might be anything there, and that is back here. So this looks excellent shade. I don't see anything rotten here. This is right where those feet come down, so I don't think we're gonna have a problem in this one. The seams are beautiful, okay, and even the channel, it's not all bent up, it's nice and clean, doesn't look like there's any rust there. The wheel wells, they're all clean, just like a good California Jeep. Now, people ask me, well, California's got beaches. Yeah, they do, but it doesn't always mean people had them on the beach, and a lot of people don't. So there's a fair amount that do, but yeah, these look awesome. Even that frame looks beautiful. So that spot I was looking up under there doesn't look like it comes all the way through, so it might be a little bit on the top there, and we'll you know, acknowledge that. But okay, and then this is an 85, so you remember the drivetrain, we're down here, we're looking at it anyway. And we're gonna have the motor, 6-cylinder, coupled with a T5, okay, paired to a Dana 300. And then an AMC 20 should be back here, front and rear, which appears to be 30 in the front, 20 in the back. I do happen to have a wide track 44 right now. I have another Jeep, so keep that on your radar. Those are not cheap. Kind of, I mean this totally respectfully, but it's certain parts, you know, tubs and frames not as much, but frames are tubs, uncut dashes, white track 44s, hell, even just nice gears in the white track, actually, period, or even narrow tracks. You know, people call and they go, I'm looking for, you know, inexpensive this or cheap, or here's another example, tilt steering wheel. And it's like, well, I usually ask them, well, what's your definition of that? Because the part you're asking for is not a part that's common. It's super rare. And like, you know, we get a couple a year if we're lucky. Let's see if I can fold this guy over. Hold on just a second there. All right. So we'll take a look at the bottom here on this guy as well. That bolt's been replaced, so that bar has probably been out at one time, or they just, for some reason, pulled that one. You can tell because these are normally Torx here. That's got a hex on it. Probably standard there. And this is got a button or something, or just tucked in here. Yeah, I don't want to rip that. It's kind of tucked underneath that. I don't know if it's tucked under that seatbelt bolt or something. So we're not going to be able to see a lot here from the top side, but see if there's the same kind of surface there. And it looks like there might be not much, but okay. So I think we're golden on that. I don't think we're going to see much down there. Even when we pull, we might get a little bit of surface, but it's going to be pretty solid. And then once again, we'll look for here. Now, look at this. See, we have this line here, and that again is right underneath that foot. So that does tell me there's probably got to be a little bit of rust repair here. And you're looking about 5 inches. And just feeling it with my finger, it's definitely through the paint. Doesn't look like, I don't feel any holes, but I would say that's probably bled through to that other side as well. Maybe that's what they were doing. So I'm not afraid to get in here. And when I hit it, when I clean it up, if we do part it, see if I can get a better focus on that, make sure that's not just the paint. It might not be anything actually. There might be a little bit down in there, but might have just got lifted this paint a little bit. That kind of liner that's on it, got a little bit of surface, but doesn't. I wouldn't leave it alone. I definitely get in there and at least treat it, but I don't think it needs to be cut out, at least at this point. We'll have to see when we get it. If we part this guy. So, but the seams here, zoom out here, excellent in shape as well. And then we'll crawl under here. My old ass. Oh, that's sharp. I sat on some thorns there. Oh boy. Well, that was an actual plant, I think. All right, that wasn't fun to sit on. Let's see if we can just get that out of the way. There we go. Okay. The thorns out of my hand. That's all right. All right. Again, I don't see a lick down here. This looks excellent shape. And then, of course, the floorboard on this side, for what we can see, we can only see the bottom. So it looks damp, maybe from an oil leak on this guy, but that's about it. I don't see a lick of rust on it. So I think this is going to be a really good tub, hopefully an A for what we can see. There's a couple dings on it, door dings here and there, but and they usually, you see a little rust sometimes up here, but this doesn't look like it has any little scratch there. And it does look like original. They had an engine fire at one time, and it wasn't very hot, but it was enough to get the paint burn off. That's where you get that oxidized bare metal. And just because it was never in a salty area or high humid, I should say, this is kind of eastern Cali, so, or excuse me, yeah, eastern, that'd be right. Okay, so I think that's it. I was going to say something else about it, but I don't think there's anything much else to say. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. This is an area here sometimes where these jams come in and down. So that's factory. And let's see, I don't have a light right now, and I don't have my flash on. See if we can focus there. So again, this is maybe a little oxidized down here, but it's kind of hard to see with lighting being so dim right now. Actually, that's pretty clean. I don't feel anything in there. So, but an area you definitely want to get covered, because it is an area where those seams come down and lead to rust. And then of course the corners, and these are actually really nice corners. And always a little bit here, but maybe a little bubble in the seam, not much there. That corner's amazing. And then of course that one, that's just as clean. So corners almost always have dings, dents, rust, something on them. So, all right, so I still don't know my decision yet, but I have a couple people waiting, and we'll start floating ideas and numbers and seeing if it's at this point right now, this Jeep may end up being better just to sell whole, and maybe paint the hood, maybe not, maybe sell it as is, but I'm never for sure on that. There's been many times I've said that and we end up parting them, so bear with us a little bit on that. We're not going to be in a super big hurry to part it out because frankly I don't really have the people anyway right now. This is our slower time of year. We usually do a lot of cleanup, and we get ready for January. January, our full crew comes back on, and we start cranking. That doesn't mean it'd take us till January, but Jerry is busy. This can be in there doing a lot of service work, a lot of big projects that we're working on. We do have this one that's going to be done here probably, I don't know, maybe by February, March. I mean, it's pretty much done now. It needs an engine put in it. And I'm going to show something real quick. This is a customer's rig here. This motor is what we were thinking about putting in that orange one. That orange one is amazing. And it was pretty much partial restored, and then they just never finished it. And that came out of California as well. I have a California title on that guy. But we got a brand new blueprint crate, literally 383 stroker, brand spanking new. Okay, this was a customers that bought this to put in an old Chevy truck that they were having built. Unfortunately, it went south on them. We're building another motor for them on a 225 odd fire. That's one of the projects Jerry's in there working on. So that guy's, if it's not, you know, if we don't put it in something, we'll sell it. And I got a couple people that are kind of waiting, chomping at the bit, seeing if we'll just sell it to them, because there's, you know, what you can buy them for new versus what we usually sell them for. It's not significant, not a huge savings, but any savings on something brand new is a savings, right? Especially because those companies typically don't discount that stuff very often. So, all right, 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. I appreciate it. I'll send this off to some of the customers that have already met me and some that have not. So bear with me. Like I said, we're on limited staff, but we're moving and shaking still. So, all right, thank you.